मोनिका ने ज्वाइन करना।
Hello, friends. We are live. Let me just go live on Instagram. All right, here we go. Hi, friends. It's Dr. Simran here with my mom, Minnie. We come live every week. Where did Minnie go? There she is. We come live every week on Wednesday for our lifestyle and cooking chats. My background, if you don't know, is in palliative care and lifestyle medicine. I'm also a health and wellness coach, and now my passion in life and mission in life is really to empower busy women with practical tools that they can use in their everyday life to take back their health and to thrive. Minnie is a like powerhouse, so I'll let her briefly introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Minnie and I'm a mother of two and a foodie. Plus, I am passionate about food and two-time breast cancer survivor and working on my journey with nutrition to keep my health going. And the same journey I'm helping lot other out there in my community how to nutrition can be fruits and vegetables can be your medicine.
Awesome. So today we're not going to be cooking because both of us are actually fasting. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I am a big proponent of Prolon, the fasting mimicking program. So we'll talk a little bit about what is fasting, what are the benefits, different types of fasting, and I'll tell you a little bit about what this 5-day journey looks like. I actually started a group. I think doing anything hard together actually makes it easier. As the saying goes, alone you can go fast, but together you can go farther, right? So I kicked off my group fast on Monday. We have some amazing women in there, including Minnie, and it's her first 5-day fast. So we're going to ask her how her experience has been. And Monday, of course, I ended up with a cold. I woke up with an itchy throat because on Saturday, my son literally coughed in my mouth. The joys of motherhood, right? So anyway, so on Monday and Tuesday, I was not feeling so well. So I'm getting very good at listening to my body. And I know 10 years ago, if I was doing this, I would have been like, no, I said I'm going to do it. I'm just going to push through it despite not feeling well. And so I think that's the wisdom that kind of comes as we age, of tuning in and listening to your body. And so I did all the things to boost my immune system, and today I'm feeling great. And so I started day 1 of my fast. And I know this sounds funny because I'm showing you a bar and I'm telling you I'm fasting. And that's the magic of Prolon, because it's basically fasting with food. And that's why it's called the fasting mimicking program. So I'll talk you through what that looks like. But first, let's talk about fasting and why it's important. So I do have some slides. Let me pull them up. Here we go. All right. So why is the modern lifestyle making us sick? And I only learned all of this as my journey started with, when I found out about my genetic mutation, 10 years ago, and then started learning about lifestyle medicine and all the science behind our lifestyle habits that keep us healthy or make us sick. And I started to learn more about the modern lifestyle. And so in the modern lifestyle, what's making us sick is that we're eating all the wrong foods, we're eating too much of it, and we're eating all the time. And so this is kind of where the fasting piece comes in that we'll talk about. But then the other lifestyle habits that contribute to the modern lifestyle is that we're not moving a whole lot. We're not sleeping very much. And actually, we put this badge of honor that, I pull all-nighters or I worked late into the night. And that's a badge of honor in our productivity-based environment. Or most of us are living chronically stressed for so many reasons, right? So, all right. So modern lifestyle is one of the main ways, one of the main things that we're able to tackle with fasting. So when we talk specifically about food, this is what happens for the average American living in the modern lifestyle. Okay. So we're basically eating all the time. And if you just take a moment to think about, all the places you go, I can probably tell you or guarantee you that there is food there, whether it's the gas station or the library or your kid's school or wherever, we have access to food all the time these days. And so what that naturally means is we end up eating all day. Between our meals, we're snacking all day. And what this means is that our hormones that help us digest this food, specifically our hormone called insulin, goes up every time we eat, and then it goes down, and then it goes up, and then we're constantly on this roller coaster. And insulin going up and our blood sugar going up is not necessarily a bad thing as long as we're metabolically healthy. But 93% of North Americans are metabolically unhealthy, which means that because we're eating all the time, our insulin is always high. We ultimately end up in this place where we become insulin resistant. So think about it like you're in a club and you're standing next to the speaker, and at some point, you feel like you've gone deaf. And that's kind of what happens to the body. It kind of goes deaf to insulin. And insulin doesn't work anymore. And so your body tries to produce more insulin. And eventually, you end up in this state where you have insulin resistance, which then leads to prediabetes and diabetes and all sorts of other health issues that are associated with insulin resistance. And so the other thing that's important to know in just a regular context is that insulin is known as the fat storing hormone, right? So its job, every time we eat, our blood sugar goes up. And so the body sends insulin out to get that blood sugar to store it in our muscle, our liver, our fat tissues, right? And because the body's blood sugar, you can't have high blood sugar for a very long time, right? So insulin is doing its job by putting all of the sugar where it is supposed to be stored. But at some point, if it doesn't have any more place to store it, or there's too much fat stored in the wrong places, like your liver and your muscle, then your insulin is going to continue expanding your fat cells. And so it's the fat storing hormone. Really, it's going to, if your insulin is always high, it's going to be really hard to lose weight. All right. So then what is fasting then, right? Fasting is something that's been going on since the beginning of time, since our evolution as humans. We have always followed this cycle of feast and famine, right? We didn't have access to food like we do today. And so whenever we would have access to food, we would eat it. And then, our body, we didn't know when our next meal was going to be. And so our body adapted to switching between using sugar for fuel and fat for fuel. And the fat it was using was our stored fat. And that's really what we call metabolic flexibility. So your body's ability to use sugar for fuel from your food, right? And your body's ability to break down its stored fat when it doesn't have access to food. And that's really how your body is energized in the fasted mode. Now, naturally, all of us are fasting. We're all fasting. Even if you don't think you're fasting, you are, right? Min, when is everyone fasting? Can you tell us?
We are fasting when we sleep, right? That's the best time. That's the best time of fasting.
We're all fasting when we're sleeping. However, the challenge is that our sleeping windows have gotten shorter and our eating windows have gotten longer. And so the statistic is pretty crazy. Actually, 50% of calories are actually, for the average American or North American, are actually eaten after 4 p.m. So that means you come home from work at 4 or 5 o'clock, you're eating a snack, then you're having dinner between 6, 7:30, and then usually most people are snacking right up until bedtime. And as long as you're putting food in your body, you're activating that hormone pathway with insulin, right? And so most of us are eating late into the day, and then our sleeping window is much shorter, right? And then we're waking up first thing in the morning and we're eating again, right? And so what ideally we want to follow is something called a circadian rhythm fast. A circadian rhythm fast means following your sleep cycle. And that's really, 12 hours eating window and 12 hours fasting window. That's kind of, Walter Longo and Sachin Pandey, who are kind of the big researchers in the fasting space, that's kind of what they recommend, a 12 to 13 hour fasting window for the average person, average healthy person. And so what that really means is after dinner, no snacking. That's how I like to think about it. After dinner, no snacking, go to bed, and then eat breakfast in the morning. Now, if you're somebody that has some metabolic health issues, there are other forms of intermittent fasting where you can prolong your fasting window so that you start tapping into your stored fat for fuel. And so this might look like, 14 hours of a fasting window and 10 hours of eating, or 16 hours fasting and 8 hours of eating. And so those can really help for people that have metabolic health issues like insulin resistance or prediabetes or high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, things like that. All right, what are the benefits? So I like to think of the benefits for fasting as twofold. One is really it helps with metabolic flexibility. And then the other is it really helps with your mental health. And most people don't realize this. They think, oh, I need fasting for energy. I need fasting for energy to do things. And I need fasting for energy to think clearly. And it's actually, I need to eat food to get energy to move my body, and I need to eat food to think clearly. And it's actually the opposite. Fasting is what gives us more energy, because when we're eating all the time, it takes a lot of effort for our bodies to process that food, to digest that food, and to eliminate that food, to absorb the nutrients, all of that. And so it takes a lot of effort and energy for our bodies to do that. So when we give our bodies a break from eating, magic happens in terms of our energy levels, mental clarity, and just the cellular processes in our body. So twofold, right? So one is metabolic flexibility. So it enhances our body's ability to use both sugar for fuel and our own stored fat for fuel. So it's nature's keto diet, if you will. We're not eating high fat. We're just burning our own stored fat for fuel. And what does this do? Well, naturally, when we have lower amounts of bad fat in our body, right? So fat is stored in 3 places. Fat is stored right under the skin. That's called subcutaneous fat. And then fat is stored around our organs. That's called visceral fat. And fat is stored inside our organs. That's called ectopic fat. So subcutaneous fat is harmless. This is where fat is supposed to be stored, right? So under the arms, maybe in the thighs, in the, love handles, you call them. That kind of fat is actually not dangerous. The type of fat that is dangerous is the fat that you can't see. It's a silent killer. That's the fat that surrounds our organs, right? That's the fat that's inside our organs, visceral fat and ectopic fat. This sort of fat increases our risk of many chronic diseases from, it starts at insulin resistance, goes to prediabetes, diabetes, heart attack, stroke, kidney disease, all of those chronic conditions that I actually took care of at the end of life for so many of my patients for 10 years. And so when you get rid of that fat, when you melt that bad fat away, and in case you want to know what it looks like, I actually have a pound of fat. This, you can't see it, but this is what is surrounding your organs. This is what's living inside your organs. This is the bad fat that we want to get rid of. And when we get rid of it, it allows insulin to become more sensitive. It allows insulin to do its job, which is to store sugar in the places that it needs to be stored or used, right? And what this then does is naturally it supports weight loss. And because you're making your insulin more sensitive, you have less bad fat on you. You'll reduce your risk of high cholesterol, high blood pressure, pre-diabetes, diabetes, and then ultimately down the road, reduce your risk of the heart attack, the stroke, the kidney disease, Alzheimer's, you name it. All of those chronic conditions, which are really linked to the silent killer that is visceral fat and insulin resistance. And then on the other side is what it does for our mental health. So it enhances mental clarity, it enhances focus. You talk to anybody, they will tell you on day 3 or 4 of a fast, their energy is through the roof. Now, every fast, prolonged fast, is different. So not every person will feel the exact same way during every fast, because a lot of it really depends on what are you going through in your life at that time? What else is happening that might be, taking up your mental space, your energy? And then the other thing that fasting does is it really gives the gut a reset. It really gives the gut a chance to relax, and it optimizes digestion, reduces bloating, and then it really, really, really does wonders for your sleep quality. All right. So we talked a little bit about intermittent fasting. So what is Prolon? So Prolon is based off of the work of Dr. Walter Longo, and he is a fasting researcher. And basically you get a big box where you have 5 days of boxes that look like this. And essentially it's soups, teas, bars, olives, crackers, and Prolon is essentially the fasting mimicking program. So you get all the benefits of a 5-day fast, but still getting to eat. See, our body has these things called nutrient sensing pathways. So like I told you guys earlier, insulin is a nutrient sensing pathway. So when we eat and our body detects sugar in the bloodstream, insulin is released, right? Just like that, there are other nutrient sensing pathways like mTOR and insulin-like growth factor and all sorts of other ones. And so what Dr. Walter Longo did is he created a program where with just the right amount of nutrients every single day, it kind of goes under that radar. So you're able to eat certain foods, but your body doesn't realize that you're eating. And so you get the benefits of a 5-day fast without actually having to do a water-only fast, because water-only fasts carry some challenges with them, right? Like, risk of electrolyte abnormalities, right? Risk of muscle loss. We don't want to lose muscle. We want to gain muscle, or at least maintain muscle. And so this program is based off of decades worth of research now at really big universities, including the NIH. And what has shown is absolutely remarkable for metabolic health, for heart health, for mental health, and for preserving lean muscle mass while getting the benefits of a 5-day fast. So I'm on day 1 right now. So day 1 right now, what starts to happen is your body starts to use up all of its stored sugar. So I haven't eaten since last night. And so we have something called glycogen, which is kind of our 24-hour storage of glucose. And so that gets depleted and our body starts transitioning into a fasted state, right? And then when you go into day 2, now fat burning revs up. So you go into something called ketosis, and the body starts to burn ketones, which is the body's secondary fuel source. And day 2 is probably the hardest for most people because one, especially if right up until the fast, you didn't do like a transition day where you kind of cleaned up your diet a little bit. If you were, eating a processed diet, high sugar, high like alcohol, sugary drinks, all of that, you're going to get hit hard on day 1 and 2, because now your body is like really detoxing from all of that junk that was in there, right? And then also, this is a caffeine free program. So on day 2, you may get a little bit of that caffeine withdrawal. So day 2 is generally the toughest. And then when you go into day 3 is really where the magic happens. And this is why I love autophagy. And I mean, this is why I love Prolon. And this is why I do this program as a genetic mutation carrier. So I have the BRCA1 genetic mutation. I did have risk reducing surgeries, but still, you know, as a genetic mutation carrier, I have a heightened risk of other cancers as well. And so this program allows me to get the cellular cleanup and the cellular rejuvenation in a way that I wouldn't be able to do with anything else, right? And so that's what day 3 is all about. It's about autophagy. And we'll talk about this in a minute. Day 4 is cellular rejuvenation. Autophagy continues. And then into day 5 is renewal. This whole program is very low calorie. It's low protein. It's all plant-based, and it's complex carbs, high fat, but really just amazing because it's super convenient. Everything you need for 5 days of eating and fasting is in the box. You don't have to leave the box. And I've been doing these since 2019. I'm surprised I didn't get my mom to do it sooner. So it's her first fast. So we'll find out from her in a minute how she's doing. But here's autophagy. Autophagy got the Nobel Peace Prize. Dr. Osumi found out about the power of autophagy and got the Nobel Peace Prize. So you can think of, if you break autophagy down, it literally means self-cleaning. So it's your body's internal recycling system. So like a spring cleaning for your body. Like I said, when you're eating all the time, your body is just working on processing and absorbing and eliminating, processing, absorbing, eliminating. It never really has time to rejuvenate or clean up the cells. And so as we are living our lives and doing all the things that we're doing, you know, debris and old proteins and old cellular parts, all of those things kind of build up in our cells. And so we really want to take some time out every year to kind of cleanse out those cells so that, you know, those cells don't down the road go on to produce something like cancer. And that's what the magic of autophagy is that when we tap into it, those dysfunctional cells are targeted and they're destructed. And so this is great for your immune system. It's great to reduce inflammation. It's great to, you know, in my case, hopefully reduce risk of any disease down the road. So here are my pro fasting tips, right? Start where you are and go up from there. So if that means you can only do an 8-hour fasting window for intermittent fasting, start there and then go up to a 10-hour window and then to 12-hour window. Right? For women who are menstruating, you want to kind of be careful. You want to fast around your cycle. Dr. Mindy Pelz, I really love her book, Fast Like a Girl. You can read that to learn how to fast around your cycle. And then Prolon also has something called Prolon also has something called a 1-day reset, which is basically just day 1 of their fast. And that can actually get you to a 24-hour fast or 36-hour fast with eating, which is amazing. So you can check that out. Then other things that you want to do while you're doing your intermittent fasting, prioritize fiber and prioritize protein, because those are things that are going to keep you full and prevent you from wanting to eat literally every hour of the day. Obviously, stay hydrated and then move your body, right? Movement is medicine, and movement, especially strength training, builds muscle, and muscle helps us optimize our insulin sensitivity, right? And then the 2 programs I love, one is the Feel Great system, which helps with daily fasting, and then the other is Prolon, which helps, you know, that 5-day program that gives you the benefits of autophagy and cellular rejuvenation. I do it 3 times a year. And right now I started today and I'm running a group right now. So if you're interested in learning about any of these 2 programs, you can send me a message or comment Prolon after this live is over, and then we can I can send you over a 20% discount link to get the program or any of the products. So if you guys have any questions about fasting in general or about Prolon, then let me know. I'm happy to answer them. And I can show you a little bit about what the bar looks like. So tell us how your experience has been so far with Prolon. What have you noticed? You're on day 4, which
I
is
am on day 4, guys. The the beauty. Sorry. Um, this is my first um, full-on fasting. I have done all water fasting before. I have tried on my own. I have done some other kind of fasting, some spiritual fasting and all that, but I never done with the food mimicking fasting. So Simran did offer me to do it, but then I was every time I had the kit, I was sick. But this time I said, come may what, I have to do this. Even I am in a back pain right now, but I am doing it and I am on day 4. And the beauty about the products is it all comes in, like it's all packaged. It has the both soups. I don't have to worry about anything. All I have to do is put water in it and bring it to boil. This is like morning or afternoon or evening. Then
and
it comes with
guess
the
what? And guess what? They just released the Prolon Next Gen box, which has all the soups pre-made.
okay.
That was a complaint that a lot of people had, was like, I don't like mixing the soup, or I have to go to work or whatever. So now all the soups come pre-made and they taste really good. Super
Then
flavorful, all organic now. So ready to eat. So the convenience is next level now.
so this bar comes as a snack or breakfast, whatever. I don't take breakfast, so I carry this. Yesterday I had a physiotherapy session, so I took this and I took my hibiscus tea with me in the bottle. So it was convenient, right? So and then it comes with olives, and guys, these olives are to die for. So yummy, like you, it just like you are just, I don't know, it's really really good. Even I think I will ask Simran if he can get those extra for home. And then in the night time after the dinner, you can have a little snack. It is a chocolate bar, little bar made out of rice crispy or not rice crispy. I don't know what's made out of. Some almonds and some kind of a grain. So it's really yummy. So like they have think of everything or to put together a kit for you for breakfast, lunch, snack, and then dinner. So that's the like convenience part. Yeah, it's so convenient. And my experience with the system was first day was okay. Second day was hard. Second day withdrawal for caffeine, tea, coffee, and I take Unimate. So that was that day I felt like my energy was low, headache, I was feeling it. But then I took it easy. I didn't do much. I just did a 30-minute of walk. That's it. Then third day it was better. Today I think I'm feeling much better. I have more clarity in my mind, more focus, more like I'm feeling very fresh. Um, but yeah, so and the bonus of all is I lost 4 pounds so far in 4 days, which is nice. But I guess I will put the weight back again.
Notice, have you noticed at all, like, any emotions coming up for you? Like, because a lot of times, especially in our modern environment, right? Like we're thrown so many things our way all the time. And I know I've been feeling some things since last night because I watched something on the news that was very disturbing, and I don't really watch the news, but then that stirred up all sorts of emotions, and it led to a conversation with Frank about all of these things that I wasn't really thinking about. But then this morning, last night I had bad dreams. This morning I was thinking about it, and the first thing I thought I wanted to do was eat, right? And that's just very natural. Like the minute that we're thrown all these things our way, one of our first instincts is to reach for food, because the reality is that most of us don't see food as nourishment or as a way to meet our, energy needs. We see food as comfort, right?
Yeah.
And so as soon as we get stressed, most of us put something in our mouth for that instant gratification, that instant comfort. And so this fast this program is amazing in the sense that you still do get to eat. However, it's not your normal, like, as soon as you're hungry, you can just go and eat whatever you want. It's very calculated. It's very low calorie. So it's definitely not a lot. But how do you, like, have you noticed any emotions coming up for you?
For me, I think I also don't watch news for many, many years now. So, because then when you see news, then it triggers, it triggers your what's happening in the world and whatnot. But I hardly watch TV.
But you're having pain right now.
Yeah,
So pain is another stress that can lead to stress eating or emotional eating. So how have you been coping with that?
I've been taking Tylenol with the food,
Okay.
like lunch and dinner time, so that
But
I
I'm
don't.
talking about more so from an emotional standpoint. Like, have you kind of had any feelings come up? Have you had to really think about, like,
I
okay,
think not in a sense of pain. I think I'm pretty uh, elevated, I would say, in my thoughts. So I always feel that if some pain comes, it's some reason of coming, showing up in your body, and I'm actually glad. I am very, very thankful to God for that. That I fall on the staircase and I didn't break anything. So I, for a little, so I got gratitude for this little hiccup came in my tailbone, but it'll heal up. I know it will heal up. For me, I think clarity. Yesterday, I felt so much clarity in my thought that a lot of gratitude came for little things. And when you have even the food in itself, like now that we are on restricted diet, the gratitude for enjoying the food I'm excited to eat on day 6, right? When you are deprived of something, then you feel, oh my God, what a blessing it is. And the blessing of God has showered us with many different type of foods, not just restricted with small little bowl of soup or a bar or whatever, right? So like clarity on that, and the emotion came for me was gratitude yesterday. I felt like we are very, very blessed with lot of, not in negative way, more of like positive way for
yeah.
me.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting. So I've been doing these fasts since 2019, and I can tell you that almost every single fast has been a different experience. Even though it's the same 5 days, it's the same, food that they give you, this 5-day fast is less about the food and more about the mental game, right? And like one of my friends who's doing the fast, on day 1 on Monday, she messaged and said, I feel like giving up. And I said to her, I was like, well, if you feel like giving up on day 1, then that just gives you, it's telling you that you need it more now than ever, because you're walking through a certain season of life. And now, you know, committing to why you decided to do this 5-day fast will help you push through whatever it is that you're walking through. Because if you can do this, you can prove to yourself that you can do hard things.
Yeah.
right? And so it's really just it's really just a way to prove to ourselves that we can do hard things, and a way to build that mental resilience and that emotional resilience, and also to really tune into our emotions. Like, so many times we just shove all our emotions under the rug. And so, bringing them up to surface and saying, okay, I'm feeling upset, or I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling stressed or frustrated or disappointed or whatever. Why? Why am I feeling this way? And then really trying to like work through the emotion so that you can, acknowledge it, thank it, and let it go. Because when you're in this space with fasting, so much comes up and you have to give those emotions space. And so by the end of the 5 days, like, so many people will say, like, I have not felt this clear in so long. I feel so lighthearted. I feel like a weight has been lifted off. Like, it's a whole mental and emotional journey. It's really not about the food. So it's really just very, very beautiful. So yeah. So if anyone is interested in learning more about Prolon, or you are interested in trying the 5-day fast or the 1-day reset, I have a 20% off code that you can use. So just comment Prolon after this live, and once it's posted on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll send you my link. My next group fast won't be until the fall. I do it 3 times a year. So that's 15 days out of the year, just dedicated to my cellular health and cellular rejuvenation and mental health. And I highly recommend it if you haven't tried it. It will be such an enlightening experience for you. And if you can, do it with a group of people, because it'll keep you accountable, and it'll give you the strength and courage to go through the whole 5 days. It's definitely the hardest part about it, I find, as a mom, is cooking for my kids and my husband. I feel like if I was by myself, I would not have a problem at all. But
Yeah, we have no problems, no cooking for me. But Thursday, there are some people coming, the contractor and them and their friends. So I was telling my son, oh, should I, like last time I fed them. So I said, like, I am on fast. Do you think I need to cook? He said, don't worry about it. So,
mhm. All right, nice to see you. Happy day 4.
happy day.
One
One to
question
you.
Sami said, was the Nobel Peace Prize for physiology or for medicine? Sami, the Nobel Peace Prize for autophagy, I believe, was for the mechanism of autophagy, so it'd be more physiology. The Prolon itself has not gotten the Nobel Peace Prize, but it is a patented program. So totally awesome. Highly recommend. As always, anything I share is not medical advice. This is for your education, empowerment, guidance. If you do have metabolic health issues or diabetic, Prolon also has a comprehensive program where they will work with you for 6 months or 12 months with a doctor and a dietitian. So if you're interested in one of their medical programs, send me a DM and I will send you the information about that. It is so cool. And I can't, right now it's only available in the US, but I can't wait for them to roll it out in other countries.
One question, you are link now for Prolon in Canada working or not working?
So if you are in Canada and my Prolon, my 20% link for Prolon is only for the US, but if you're in Canada, I do have a code, and so you can comment and ask for the code, or I can tell you it. I believe it's Simran MD capitals. I believe that's the 20% code for Canada. So if it doesn't work, just send me a message and I'll get it to you. All right, friends. Nice to see you. Bye-bye.